What's up, everybody? Welcome to Queer Girl Straight Skates. Today I'm going to teach you how to pump on a ramp. For those of you who are wondering what pumping is the basic beginner thing that you want to learn for the skate park. And what you're doing is you're going back and forth on a ramp, or you're getting up a lot of speed and momentum in order to do tricks, in order to go around a bowl, in order to pretty much do anything cool at the skate park. You need to know how to pump. And pumping, while it is the very foundational basis to many skate park tricks, it also is a huge pain and totally hard. So I'm gonna give you the basics of how to do it right now. So when you're pumping, you're essentially going back and forth on the ramp. So it looks like this. This is pumping. It is just the act of going back and forth. Now, when you're pumping, you have to bend your knees and straighten up your body at certain times in order to actually make it higher on the ramp. If you don't pump and you're trying to go back and forth, it's gonna end up looking a lot like this. I'm not pumping. I can't really get much height at all, because the height and the power and the strength and the speed comes from your knees. So what's gonna happen is you're gonna pretend like you are swinging on a swing. So when you get to a certain point on the ramp, you're gonna bend your knees, then you're going to straighten, and then you're gonna bend your knees again. So the first thing that you need to know when you are pumping is you are going to need to stagger your feet. So you can either do it with the right foot forward like this, or you could do it with the left foot forward like this. I will show you both ways. It honestly is whatever is most comfortable to you. You want to make sure that you have a good solid position here, because that's a position you're going to be keeping. Some people will switch legs when they're pumping, and that is also perfectly fine. So you should just do whatever comes natural to you. So what you're going to do is, when you are skating into your pump, usually I honestly start with skating into the pump, so I don't just go here and then I try and start pumping. Like, I'm going to start my pump by like skating up, and then I'm gonna go into the pump. So once I've gone into my pump, then there are certain times that I'm going to bend my knees and straighten. So in order to build up speed, you're gonna wanna bend when you are at the top of the ramp on both sides. In order to gain that momentum, when you're going up, you're going to bend at the top and then straighten in the middle. Going backwards, bend at the top, straighten in the middle. Bend, straighten. Bend, straighten. In this way, you're actually building up momentum as opposed to taking your own momentum away. So bend, straighten, bend, straighten, bend, straighten. If you're so good at pumping and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so high, and then all of a sudden you feel kind of out of control, then you can go on your toe stops. Going on your toe stops will always kind of stop you. And for me, going on your toe stops is a little bit of a default that helps me feel stable. So altogether, what's gonna happen is you are going to skate up, and then you are going to bend your knees when you're at the top of your pump. So however high you get in the front, you're gonna bend your knees. And then when you're back in the middle, you're gonna straighten your legs and your body. And then once you're going back, once you're closer to the top, you're gonna bend your knees again. And then when you're in the middle on the bottom, you're going to straighten up again. And then to the front, you're gonna bend your knees. So think any time that you are at an angle, you're gonna try and have those knees bent. One thing that's really important is to look behind you when you're pumping backwards. So if you're going forward, great, look in front of you. But if you're going backwards, make sure you know where you're going. The main reason for that, it's important that you look behind you when you're pumping and you're going backwards. And the reason for that is because just in case you pump high enough to hit that back coping, you want to make sure that you know you're about to hit the back coping, so you can pick up your back foot a little bit in order to not get that wheel bite and then go forward into the ramp. So I'm looking back, I'm looking forward, I'm looking back. Pumping will help me get a lot of speed very quickly. When you are pumping forward, sometimes in order to get that speed when you're first starting out pumping, you need a little help. So one thing that I really like to do is, instead of just like skating forwards and going into my pump, I'm gonna skate forwards, but then I'm gonna run up a little bit and jump in order to give me some speed. So you're gonna start from no momentum, and then when you're doing that skate forward, you're gonna step forward on your toe stops. And I do a little bit of a jump in order to give me some speed going backwards. So now I'm like, okay, that's enough to get me into my pump. And then I have enough speed. Whereas if I wasn't to do that, and I was just to skate forward, it might take me longer and more effort to get into that pump. I can still get there either way, but for me, one of those ways is much easier, and that's the running toe stop jump. So final notes about pumping. Before you learn how to pump, you need to be able to comfortably skate forwards and skate backwards. If you can't comfortably go forwards and backwards, pumping is going to be very hard for you and more dangerous. Another thing that you should know is that pumping is exhausting. It's an actual workout. So if you start pumping, you pump only for like 5 minutes and you're dead exhausted, that's totally normal, and everyone experiences that. As you practice pumping, you'll work up more endurance and you'll be able to pump for longer. Thanks for watching this episode of Queer Girl Straight Skates. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I hope you learned how to pump and you can practice this at the park. If you want to support me further, then you can join my Patreon. It means the whole world if you support me on Patreon, because that helps me to continue making these videos. Or you could go on Etsy and buy some of the fun stuff that I've got on there. We've got some really exciting new stuff coming out soon. And most importantly, cheers to the queers! Out.
I followed you.
That's sick.